Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to another Poem Masters video, and today we're going to talk about something I thought would actually be pretty interesting to talk about because, normally you think, this is just fluff or whatever, right? But I actually do think there is merit with, when looking at, the strongest damage dealers per region because of these extreme battles, right? Because these extreme battles have mostly been, per region, right? Certain regions get a boost, and so far, every extreme battle, you could generally beat it if you do have the on-region units, right? You could off-region sometimes as well, but off-region generally a bit harder than you'd need very, very specific supports and all that stuff in comparison to on-region. So again, we're just going to look at some of these on-region units and also between special attackers and physical attackers, because there's also that disparity as well in a lot of these extreme battles, right? Just so folks can have an idea for, in terms of which units maybe you should save for each region. So you could have at least one of each unit for each region, right? Of each, I guess, type of damage dealer for each region. So you could, make your life easier with the extreme battles, right? So, starting off with the first region being Kanto, obviously. So let's talk about special attackers and physical attackers, right? Special attackers should be pretty obvious, right? Singsu Red's very, very, very good, right? That's very, very obvious. Oh, there are some other good ones as well. Singsu Leaf's not bad as a damage dealer, right? And obviously both lances are pretty decent. Giovanni's very, very good, plus he is free, right? So I wouldn't worry like too much if you don't have like a Singsu Red against like a Kanto extreme battle, again Giovanni being free and always here now, right? It's always going to be a good and easy option. Also the classic blue, very, very good as well. Also in comparison to red, he does have less conditions, right? It's easier to set him up in terms of setup wise, team wise, right? And also the other good thing about classic blue is he could also double as your physical damage dealer as well, right? If you want, you do have that option with him, right? So there's that. The regular Pidgeot I wouldn't say is that good personally, right? A lot of setup, payoff's not like the best, right? But yeah, you can also have that option with double edge. Same with Singsu Red as well, right? But if we're looking for I guess pure, I guess blue is more of a physical, right? Because his sync move is physical, right? Than a special, but again, he could also contribute as a special damage dealer. But the other big one is going to be Singsu Erica, right? Singsu Erica is just through and through physical, right? Physical sync. As we get to our fourth copy over here, physical sync, physical solar blade, right? Incredibly powerful unit. Obviously, right? So yeah, if I were to say, right, physical, you'd have classic blue or Singsu Erica, then special you'll have Singsu Red, right? Or again, something like a Giovanni. So all right, let's move on to Johto. This is a tough one because Johto's damage dealers, Johto has some good supports. Johto has some very, very good supports. Jasmine, obviously top tier, right? Lyre's really good as support. Falconer, another top tier support, right? But when it comes to damage dealers, Claire's not good. Karen's are not the best. Chris is not the best. Lyra's not that great. Price is not that great. Silver's pretty good, right? Ethan's not that great. Morty, both Mortys are not that great, right? So Johto, honestly, for physical and special, the answer might just be silver. His sync is physical, right? So there's that. He has Sacred Fire, obviously, being the physical damage dealer. And then he also has Overheat for special, also Solar Beam, right? But if you want to go for like another different special damage dealer, because again, his sync is physical. If you want someone to also do damage on a special in terms of like their sync move as well, which I really wouldn't care that much. I just go with silver anyways, personally, right? But what special damage do we have? Claire, we have Karen. Is there anyone else? I think Lyra's sync is special, right? But Lyra's main damage dealing move is physical though. Ethan. It's probably Karen, I guess. No, at this point, I'd probably just use Silver instead, right? Because it's not like Karen's Sync move is going to do that much damage either, right? Karen's Sync move obviously not extremely powerful. It's a Mega Sync move, for one. There's no multipliers. And it's just getting carried by her really high special attack, right? So yeah, Johto's pretty down bad. You could use Silver for both, honestly. So on the bright side, at least he's free, right? So yeah, Johto very, very down bad. As for Hoenn, this is pretty easy, right? I mean, Hoenn, obviously has fantastic damage, like, you know, Anniversary Steven, right? Brendan's really, really good as well, stuff like that. Wally's fantastic. The Zinnia is really, really good and free, right? May's amazing. Both Mays are amazing. But it's pretty obvious. Physical, you got Maxi. Special, you got Archie, right? You know, two of the best units in the game overall, right? So it's no surprises here, right? But yeah, you also do have, again, the free-to-play option with Zinnia. Kind of like Silver, you got a physical and special option with Zinnia, which is nice, right? Well, I guess both Zinnias are free, but there's that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be Matchy and Archie over here. Sinnoh, another kind of down bad region. Not as down bad as Johto, though, because Sinnoh does have Cyrus, and Cyrus is an amazing damage dealer, right? Definitely a top tier damage dealer, Cyrus. So in terms of special damage, right? Sinnoh doesn't have to worry that much. Cyrus just carries, right? Plus he's free, right? But again, we're not even accounting the fact that he's free. Like, even if he wasn't free, he's still like the best one here, right? But like by far, right? He's an incredible damage dealer. Hydro Pump Cyrus, right? I mean, his dragon damage is kind of bad, but Hydro Pump Cyrus is definitely amazing, right? And then as for physical, probably Cynthia, right? Probably Cynthia. Cynthia still has her merits, even though she's fallen off quite a bit, unfortunately. But I mean, she can still probably get the job done, right? The only slight downside with Cynthia is that for Cynthia, right? Because we're talking about like region exclusive extreme battles, which so far they've all been, you know, region, well, not exclusive, but the certain regions get like a huge boost, right? The thing with Cynthia is she needs Sandstorm, and there aren't any Sandstorm Sinnoh units, right? The Sandstorm units, Acerolas and Alola, Ingo's in Unova, right? And the tech, you know, Kabutops isn't in any region. So that is kind of tough, right? Otherwise, I'd say, you know, Volkner would be a solid option, right? And Duroc maybe, right? But yeah, that is just the one slight issue with Cynthia, right? But otherwise, she's if that isn't that big of an issue, then she should generally be fine, right? I'd say. Okay, moving on to Unova. Unova, there's a lot, right? There's a lot of options. But I'd say, you know, best in terms of just special damage dealer, right? Probably Anniversary N. Anniversary N is very good, right? AoE, all that stuff. He does have the same issue that Cynthia has, though, unfortunately, where again, there is no Unovan Sunsetter, right? Just like there's no Sinnoh Sandsetter. So that could be a bit of an issue for you, right? That could be a bit of an issue. But yeah, outside of that, there's still really good special options as well outside of Anniversary. And there's like Alder, right? Bianca's amazing. So if that is an issue, right, there are other options that are still really amazing, right? As for physical, there's some, again, they have some really good physical options. You know, stuff like the special costume Hilda's really nice. Champion Iris is not bad. But I'd say probably the best one's going to be Emmett, right? Emmett's really good, especially because Emmett doesn't have the same issue that Cynthia has, right? Emmett's Sandstorm partners is actually from Unova, right, with Ingo. So you could throw Ingo out there as a tank and he won't be blasted by, you know, 7,000 damage a turn because you don't have the extra region boost, right? So yeah, something like Anniversary N and Emmett, right? But again, Anniversary N does have that slight issue with the Sunsetter not being in the same region, right? Moving on, Kalos, you definitely have some solid options, right? For special damage, you have Serena, right? Serena, people always talk about, oh, you know, sleep, whatever. Yeah, she's good at sleep or whatever, but she is also, people forget, she's a fantastic damage. She does about as much as Sinnoh Red, right? People do not talk about this enough. But there is one slight issue with Serena, which is the fact that a lot of these stages, extreme battles, in terms of like conditions like sleep or flinch, right? A lot of times the opponent, after they recover from it, they don't get it again. And if they can't get sleep or flinched again, or in this case sleep, if they can't get slept again, if they can only get slept once, then obviously that does kill your damage quite a bit, right? So that's where you have the other option, Palantine Serena, right? Paralysis they generally can't get rid of, right? And that's her main sync nuke multiplier, right, on top of buffing her own speed. She is also a fantastic damage dealer as well, right, in terms of another special damage dealer. So if you can't go with Serena, you could definitely go with the other Serena. Regular Diantha is also pretty good as well, right? I personally just like, I personally just feel Palantine Serena is a bit better here. As for physical one, you have the other Diantha, right? Even though she is a special damage dealer, but her moves, you know, well, her main moves at least, Secret Sword and her sync nuke does hit the opponent's defense instead of special defense, right? So that's the important part. It's not what the type is what defense is, you know, it hits for the opponent, right? So there is that, which also, speaking of, Mewtwo also does have that, right, with Side Strike, right, once you Mega the Mewtwo, so that could also be another option, right? Right, yeah, hits defense instead of special defense. Although Mewtwo does also have the same option as Cynthia and Anniversary N, right? The Psychic Terrain Setter is just not in Kanto, unfortunately. Yeah, that's for Kalos, I guess. Alola's kind of tough, I'd say Alola's kind of tough. In terms of special damage, though, that one's not tough at all, right? It is, you know, Sinnoh Luzamine by far, right? Well, I would say by far. There's also Anniversary Lily. Although Sinnoh Luzamine does also have the issue of the Psychic Terrain Setter is not in Alola, right? And Anniversary Lily, who is also very, very good. Not as good as Luzamine, but also very, very, very good, right? She doesn't have that issue. So in terms of team comps, it could be a bit easier for Anniversary Lily, right? Just because, again, restricted. If you don't have the, you know, the teammates in that same region, they might get hit pretty hard by the opponents, right? So Anniversary Lily is definitely a very, very good fallback option, right? As for physical damage dealers, it's hard for me, in my opinion, because there's a lot of really good, decent ones. There's a lot of really decent ones. There's not like one just crazy one, right? Special Costume Guzma's decent, right? Mallow's pretty decent. Hala's decent. Master Rail's pretty decent. What else? Kimono Grimsley's not bad, right? So there are a lot of decent units, but there isn't like a really, really, really powerful one, right? But whichever one you get, I think should be fine, right? Personally, I do like Master Rail the most, just because he's not like the best damage dealer out of all of these in terms of just dealing damage, but I do like the fact that he does also buff your whole team's speed. So even if you don't have that like one top notch physical damage dealer, you could run Master Rail with like another, maybe not Hala, but like another physical damage dealer from Alola, right? Because he could give you the speed, he give you some really, really easy options to run a second physical damage dealer alongside him to make it work out, right? To make up for, again, maybe not, you know, as insane as a damage dealer as maybe Sinnoh Luzamine or Anniversary Lily, right? So there definitely is that. One other option I do want to mention, right, is Mr. Gladion for physical, because the upside of Gladion is you can change it to any type, right? His damage may not be that great in of itself, but since you can change any type, if you don't have that, you know, type weakness, you could always go defer to him, and that's an extra 2 times multiplier for super effective, which is always nice as well, right? The one downside, or the other downside for, I guess, Alola is really the great free-to-play striker, because like every other region at least has like a legendary event unit, right? Like, you know, Unova, if you don't have anything too crazy, you still always got Gets as an option, right? Cyrus for Sinnoh, Silver for Johto, especially Silver and Zinnia and Mewtwo, right? Because they could both hit physical and special, which is very, very, you know, useful in these case scenarios. Alola is supposed to have Solgaleo, but they gave it to MC, and MC doesn't have the Alola theme skill. So Alola does struggle there a bit, right? Galar. Obviously, the obvious option for, you know, special is Leon, right? Regular Leon, very, very, very powerful, right? One of the, you know, definitely one of the top damage dealers in the game overall, right? Incredibly broken unit. As for physical, though, there are some options. You have Holiday Leon, right? He's definitely very, very good. The one downside is that, again, the same as like Serena, right? When you sleep, freeze the opponents, a lot of times these extreme battles, once you freeze them once, you can't get freezed again, right? So in case of that, obviously you do have other options like Marnie, regular Marnie, where again paralysis doesn't get, you know, taken away, right? And obviously Marnie's an insane damage dealer as well, right? Dark type damage dealer. But yeah, there's definitely some really, really good options in Galar. You always have the free option with Hop over here, right? Not that great of a damage dealer, but you know, he's can be an option, right? Holiday, both Nessas, obviously really, really good. B, really, really good. There's just a lot of really great physical options, but obviously in terms of special type damage, you know, no one's beating Leon over here, right? Regular Leon. So yeah, anyways, that's from this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoyed. This is not like a, you know, definitive, oh, here's my rankings for whatever. It's just some ideas for folks in terms of, you know, saving for units that you might want to summon just to be useful for the extreme battles, right? It's more of like a utility thing more than, you know, ranking units or whatever, right? Again, if something already works for you, then obviously you don't, you know, really need to go further, right? But if you are having trouble with some regions, right, just some units to look out for, right? I mean, if you're gonna go for something, might as well go for the better, you know, the best, right? Unless you like another character more and they could do equally well, then, well, I wouldn't say equally well, but, you know, they could still clear it, then that's fine as well, right? I'm not trying to tell, again, you don't have to summon on these, right? It's just some suggestions, right, for those who are struggling. So anyways, that's me with this one. Hope you all enjoyed. What you guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video for some more Pokemon Masters content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.